We continue right here. Mad Dog Sports Radio tonight. Jake Asman with you till 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday to kick off your weekend. And folks, we have quite the UFC event 1 week from tomorrow, UFC 303 in Las Vegas. And one of the members of this card that seemingly was changing by the hour the last couple of weeks, the headliner of the co-main event, Brian Ortega, joins us now. Brian, really appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me, brother.
So for you, what have the last couple weeks been like as you were kind of in limbo? I'm sure waiting to find out if you were even going to have to be a part of this card in some capacity.
It's been interesting. I guess I would say it's been interesting. It was like I said, it was a short notice call, but you know, when they called to save the UFC, we said yes, and that's kind of what it was.
What for you goes through your mind when you get that call? Is it an automatic yes right away? Do you want to know the opponent, or were you just ready to fight no matter what?
Traditionally, I've stopped accepting short notice fights just because you want to. I like to treat myself as a professional and just kind of give me the proper training camp and everything, right? But I just a couple of things went on with this fight where they called me. They said, "Would you be able to fight?" And like I said initially, it was like, "Well, 2 weeks notice. Why can't we fight in September?" They kind of told me what's going on with the UFC, and then call it crazy, but I felt like I was supposed to fight on this card and do something else with the talent and the platform that I'm given, and that's what I'm doing now.
It's
So
a
I took the fight.
Yeah, it's a huge card, obviously. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler were supposed to headline it. And, UFC 303 International Fight Week. And now here you are fighting a guy in Diego Lopes, who's an up and comer in this division. So, what for you really stood out about this matchup? What made it so appealing?
I think it's more just the short notice, the thrill of it. Um, like there's a lot of things that happen in your career, and you get a full camp, you get this, and you get everything's nice and neat, and everything is perfect. Um, what happens when it's not perfect? What happens when you're in Texas and you get a phone call to fight in 2 weeks, and you're out with your wife, and then you're just like, whoa, there's just everything changes. You get all these excitement, all these feelings, all this adrenaline, kind of, or these nerves, whatever you want to call it. These are good memories to have. These are good feelings to have as a fighter, and it's something that I'm always gonna remember in the journey. One day when I'm sitting there and I'm old, I'm like, dude, you're one crazy son of a gun. Like you just you were down for your stuff.
I'll tell you what, we're on Sirius XM, so you are allowed to curse if you want. I don't, but I just wanted to give you
Uh,
that heads up.
I got you. I got you.
We're talking with UFC featherweight contender Brian Ortega. He will be the co-main event against Diego Lopes at UFC 303 next Saturday. For you mentioned the quick turnaround. This is your quickest turnaround in more than 6 years. You last fought back in February, a big submission win over Yair Rodriguez at UFC Fight Night. For
Yeah.
you, with this kind of turnaround, what happens with your body? How do you get yourself ready to fight on such short notice to go out there next Saturday and compete?
I mean, at this point, I stay training all the time. That's something that I've been happy now that after this fight, the last fight in February, I didn't have any surgeries. There was nothing major in my life that I had to switch up. There's like, oh my God, now you can't train, now you can't fight, now you can't do this. So that used to hold me up a lot. It sucks, but I used to fight once a year because every time I go in there, it's a crazy war. I break something, I break one or two, three bones, or I break a orbital. You never know. And next, I'm out for surgery, and then you have to get cleared by the doctors, and then there's either physical therapy or it's a whole uh, process to coming back that I don't think a lot of people understand. So now that I wasn't able to, now that that didn't happen this last fight, I was able to keep training. I was able to keep living life the way I normally do, the way I'd like to, which is always on a full time schedule, always training amongst my friends, my peers, my mentors, and living this lifestyle that I've always wanted to live. And that's what I did. After the last fight, we trained for right after the fight. I was training. I've been training nonstop. I train twice a day, every day, and sometimes, given the fact that sometimes we have little vacations, or I have to work, or I have to leave to Vegas to go do something, but for the most part, I try to stay in shape now.
We're talking
Old
with Brian
Brian,
Ortega. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
old Brian, just likes to eat and just hang out and be lazy, and that's it. But I'm happy that I got put in it. I'm happy that I actually listened to myself in this aspect, and I was able to do that. So when they called on 2 weeks' notice, although I was in Texas, um, the weight was the only thing that I was, or that I am gonna have to lose. But that's it. Other than that, like, everything else feels good.
Can you walk us through the process of trying to lose weight? Because for people who maybe are just casual sports fans, maybe getting more into UFC, they knew this is going to be a big fight coming up next weekend. I don't think a lot of people truly realize just how difficult it is to cut weight, especially cutting weight on such a short notice. How much weight did you have to cut to get ready for this fight?
Um, 30 pounds.
In 2 weeks
Yeah, 30 pounds in 2 weeks.
to fight at 145, correct?
Correct.
Wow. So how do you do that?
I'm trying to figure it out right
I guess the old Brian can't show up between now and next Saturday night, then, right?
now. So ultimately, it's just tweaking the diet now. That's it. These last 2 weeks is just keeping the diet, sweating. Like switching the diet up and making sure that I don't over carb myself, or just every meal counts at this point. That's kind of what it is. Every meal counts, and at the end of it, it's just in reality a 2 week weight cut. There's nothing that you can really fully do. I'm not gonna look at some tape. I'm not gonna look at my training partners and be like, guys, we're gonna make a full 2 week camp to get ready for Diego Lopes. No, but we train 1 week and then it's over. There you go. Which is already coming up on it. I got today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then it's a wrap. Then Monday I'm headed to Vegas, and then it's fight week. So it was just 1 week of just switching up the food, switching up the diets, and that's it.
Brian, your opponent has said that this is going to be a war next Saturday. Both of you guys have very unique styles. You've been a part of some absolute wars in your great career in the UFC. What stands
Yeah.
out about your opponent? Are you expecting a war in this one next Saturday?
I'm expecting everything. I'm expecting everything. I'm seeing what he's gonna come up with. I'm seeing what he's gonna try to, his aspect in trying to finish me or beat me, and then I play it by ear. In the fight, like I said, this is a fight where I'm just gonna have to feel him out from the beginning. There's no no real strategy, no, not much, which is why it brought all this excitement up, because this is fun. Like these like, yo, you don't have all the answers, or you're not actually gonna study him for 2 months, and you're not gonna do this, and you're not gonna, it's just like, it's too quick. By the time you know it, I'm already here, dude. I'm talking to you right now, which is one step closer to the fight.
And it's going to be a heck of a fight based on what a lot of fight fans are thinking. I'm just curious, as all this is going on and Conor McGregor's uncertainty was up in the air, how closely were you monitoring that before you ultimately got the call? Or was the UFC in touch with you the whole time saying, hey, we think there's a chance we might need to make a bunch of changes here? What's your status?
No, they they mentioned the name before, and I said yes to that name, and I would have to move up a weight class. So this whole time I've been training to fight at 155 now, which is um some that I didn't expect to even take a short notice fight at 145. I was expecting a short notice fight at 155. From what they told me, they was like, "Hey man, you might fight this guy, or this guy, can you do this or whatever?" I said, "Yeah, cool, I'm down." Like, okay, cool. After that, I didn't get a phone call in a month, so I was like, "All right, guys, if you guys are not calling me in a month, then I guess I'm just gonna live my life. I'll
Is
see
that
you
is that
guys."
Dana who makes that call, Brian? Who ultimately calls you from the UFC?
I I talked to my manager Tiki. Yeah, I've been talking to my manager. I talk to Tiki a lot, and every Tuesday they have the fighter meetings every Tuesday, and then come Wednesday he tries to fill me in with what's going on. And lately, they just told me that I've been in a weird situation. There you go. You're not in a situation where you can fight for the title because Volk and Max have those kind of guaranteed shots for the favors that they did for the UFC. But then we don't want you to fight kind of right now contenders because we want you to fight these guys for the titles. So I was like, well, what do you guys want me at then? You don't want me to fight contenders, but you don't want me to fight the champs or the number one guys. They're like, yeah, you're in a weird spot, bro. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm healthy and I want to stay active. They go, well, we don't have nothing for you that we like. So I told them, well, I'll move up to 155. Let's do that. Let me move up to 155. Let me fight up there. And I seen guys from featherweight move up to 55 and do well. So why not give it a shot and stay busy? I said, throw me September 14th on the Sphere card, and let's do this. So that's what we were training for, though. That was the initial goal. It was maybe take a short notice fight for 303, not this short, but like at least a month. And then so when that month passed by, I said, okay, no longer here. The Sphere it is. And then now I jump back and now I'm here, which is crazy.
And now you're part of a massive card, international fight week, UFC 303, and you're part of the co-main event for it, Brian. I mean, I know you're
Crazy,
gonna say
right?
you're gonna win.
Life is crazy,
It
dude.
is. It is. But I'll tell you what, as a fight fan, I actually think this might be a better card. I don't maybe that's the most popular take, but I think
Yeah.
as the UFC tries to do, they're able to sometimes, make, lemons out of lemonade. They figure it out. And I think you being a part of it is great for every fight fan.
All one of the lemons I used.
So give me a prediction for this one. How are you going to take down your opponent Lopez next Saturday night?
I'm not too sure, man. Like, I think I'm gonna have to see where I can get him. You know, I have to see whether it fits the feet, whether it fits the ground. It's just I have to figure him out during the fight. He's got good cardio, good heart, good chin, um, very explosive, and he just likes to go for it. You know, so I have to see how I can play the chess piece during the match, and that's what I'm good at.
With a win, do you want a title shot? Is that what's next for you?
I don't. You know what? All these things are being promised. If I so from what I know is this whole title shot thing is weird for me, right? There's Max has to fight Tuporia, or not has to, but they're going to fight, I believe. And then from there, Volk has an automatic rematch at the title, anyways. So it's either like Tuporia versus Max, whoever wins, you either get Tuporia versus Volk number two, or you get Max versus Volk number four, um, which leaves me out till next year if it is a title fight that I want to chase for. So at this point, I don't know. I don't know whether I think at this point is just fight people.
Pretty good line of work. Just fight people
It's
and
just, yeah,
keep
just
me
fight people, man. Just fight
entertaining.
people. Yeah, just fight people and have fun. And like even like this opportunity popped up. I said, well, this is something great to do for the things that I had in my mind and with church and with following God that I've been wanting to do. So this is gonna put me there in that situation to be able to help a lot of people.
Well said. He's Brian Ortega. He is a part of UFC 303, taking the fight on 2 weeks' notice. His opponent, Diego Lopes, in what should be an epic featherweight fight next Saturday night in Las Vegas. Well, Brian, I speak for all fight fans. We are pumped that you're part of this card. Can't wait to watch it next week. Best of luck.
Thank you.
He's Brian Ortega. My name is Jake Asman. Quick break, and we will continue. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio right here on Sirius XM, Channel 82.